Hello everyone, today's tutorial is on the Marley Crossbody. The Marley Crossbody is a small phone pouch that has a few card pocket holders on front. Each of these card slots will hold a couple to 3 cards, so you can put multiple cards in each. It also has a swivel hook that you can attach your keys to, and then the closure strap just has a stud button to keep everything secure. The strap, I use a cord. This one is a cork cord for, and it can be adjusted with these slip knots here at the side. It can be worn just across the body, or it can be adjusted to be made into a hip pouch or just over the shoulder. This pattern is a fun way to use color. The pockets here and even the closure are a good way to use up some scrap pieces if you have smaller scrap pieces. You can do something like this where it's bright and colorful and all the pieces are different, or you can go a little more muted with a nice print and just a complementary color. And I have a few examples of what I've done with those. So find some fabric you like, get it all cut out for you, and I'll meet you back here soon. Here are all the pieces cut. I cut mine using my laser, using the SVG files, but all of them are easily cut by hand. I would suggest when you're cutting your strap closure here, template E, that you wait, if you're cutting by hand, to punch your stud closure holes until you've sewn these two pieces together. That way, if there's any slipping while you're sewing, your holes won't misalign. If you just cut it at once it's all sewn together, it makes it a lot neater looking. So if you are cutting by hand, don't have these holes cut in yet. Do that after you've sewn. And I have that in the pattern for you. It's in the, where the templates are, has a note in it, and then also within the pattern has a note about that. But you're going to have your front and your back exteriors. You're going to have your top pocket and your bottom pocket, your strap closure, and then this is your hook connector. We're using this fun strawberry print for the cork. With this pattern, you need to use a non-fray fabric because it does have raw edges. So cork, leather, vinyl, craft text is fine too, if you want to use that. So yeah, have your pieces cut and let's get started on our sewing. Our first step for the Marley Crossbody is to prep all of our pieces, either with some hemming or some top stitching, just kind of getting everything set to sew together. In my pattern, I have each individual piece prep, then sew. I'm going to do some of the markings together and then take a few of the pieces over to the sewing machine all at once, just to kind of streamline the process just a little bit. But it's not going to be too out of order or anything. So I'm going to move these to the side for now, and we're going to look at our front exterior, our back exterior, and our 2 pocket pieces. Turn your front and back exterior over to the wrong side. Now I've already drawn the line, but you're going to measure down from the top of the front exterior, the distance it tells you in the pattern, and draw a line across. And then the same thing for the back exterior. Measure down from the top, the distance it specifies in the pattern, and draw your line across. Then what you're going to do is just turn your pieces down, and I forgot to grab my clips, so just a second. Okay, so you're going to turn your top piece down and fold it so that the top edge meets your line, and just clip that in place, making sure to keep your fold your edge right against that line. You're going to do the same thing for the back exterior. You're going to fold down the top of it so it meets your line, and then just clip it in place. Now this back exterior fold is going to be what we put our strap through. So you want to make sure that you don't sew your edges at all. We're just going to sew across this bottom. You need to keep those open. So as we go through the pattern, just remember that this needs to stay open here because that is the channel for our strap. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the front and the back exterior. I'm also going to take the pockets over to the sewing machine. This is step 5 and 6 on the prepping the pieces, and we're going to top stitch around this top portion of our pocket where the curve is to add a little detail and a little stability to the top of that pocket. So let's go over to the sewing machine. We're going to sew the bottom of our folds here and then the top stitch to the top of our pockets. Okay, we're going to start with our front exterior, and we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch up from our raw edge here to keep our fold down. And I have to find my pedal. There we go. Now on this one, you can either leave your thread longs and tie them off, or you can go ahead and back stitch. It's just a matter of how you want your stitching to look. I'm going to back stitch for this one because I'm using white thread with my white cork, so you really won't be able to see it. All right, so that is our front exterior. We're going to do the same thing on the back exterior, 1/8 of an inch up from our raw edge. There's our back exterior. Now I'm going to move on to my pockets. And this time we are going to stitch around this top on each pocket, 1/8 of an inch away from the top edge. And for this one, you might want to hand crank around the curve, and on this one I like to leave a long thread and tie off for my pockets. There are our pockets. Let's go back over and we'll get the other pieces prepped. Okay, we have our front and our back pieces prepped. We're going to set those to the side. Our pocket pieces, I was going to show you how I tie off my end here. I leave my ends long instead of back stitching for my pockets, and I pull through. Sorry, there we go. I pull through both my threads to the wrong side here, and then I just tie a knot. Trim it short, and I like to burn the ends here to help keep the knot secure. For your front, or I'm sorry, your bottom pocket piece, you're going to want to go ahead and attach the stud button through your opening here. If you want to use a little bit of Loctite on the screw to get it secure, you can do that. So go ahead and add your stud button there. Now those are prepped and ready, so we're going to set those to the side. And we're going to move on to our closure strap. You're going to have 2 of these pieces. Remember, if you have done these, cut these by hand, you're going to want to wait for the holes until you have them sewn together to keep it a little more accurate and neat looking. Turn one of your pieces over to the wrong side. I like to use a fabric tack glue to help hold everything together. If you don't like to use glue, you don't have to. You can just clip them together or use double-sided tape if you want. This glue dries pretty fast, so I don't worry about it gunking up my sewing machine. So you're going to put your 2 pieces wrong sides together. And if you didn't use glue, go ahead and get them clipped. Get all your edges nice and lined up. Next step in the sewing pattern is to go over to the sewing machine and sew around the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and get the hook connector set to take over the sewing machine as well, just again for some speed purposes. For the hook connector, you're going to turn it to the wrong side and you're going to draw a line down the center, which is 1/2 inch in. And then you're going to just turn your edges into that center line. You can put some double-sided tape down on this if you want, instead of using clips. Or you can just clip your edges in, like I have here. You're going to turn both edges over so they meet that line. I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine, both pieces, and we're going to sew around our closure strap 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and we're going to sew our folds down 1/8 of an inch from our folded edge. For the closure strap, we're just going to sew around the entirety of the strap 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Right, that's our closure strap. Our next one we're going to do is our hook connector. I'm going to head and put double-sided tape on mine to kind of keep it better closed instead of using my clips. And we're going to sew down each folded edge 1/8 of an inch from the edge. There is our strap connector. I'll get that fixed here. There we go. We're going to take these back over and all our pieces will be prepped and we'll start putting everything together. Okay, all of our pieces are prepped. If you need to, go ahead and punch your hole in the strap closure. You'll want to use a, I think 5mm punch on that, and then you'll add your slits to it as well with either a little X-Acto blade or a pair of sharp little snips. So go ahead and add that if you don't have it already. And we're going to move the strap closure and the back exterior out of the way. And for our next section is the front assembly. We're going to need the front exterior, your top pocket, your bottom pocket, and your hook connector. And you're also going to need your swivel hook. First thing we need to do is we have our front exterior right side up. We're going to take our top pocket, that is the pocket with the tabs, and we're going to place it centered and 1.5 inches down from our top edge to our top folded edge. So centered is about 1 1/8 inches over from the side. So I like to just measure down from the top with my ruler and then just center it on either edge. That way I know that it's nice and straight at the top. What I didn't do, however, to keep this in place, since it's a little ways from the edge, I usually put a piece of double-sided tape on the back of it to kind of help hold it in place. You just need to remember to remove that at the end so you don't have your pocket taped shut. So let's try this again now that I have my tape on there so I can get it pressed down. Okay. We're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew straight across this bottom edge to attach our pocket. Okay, to attach our top pocket, we're just going to sew right across this bottom edge. Back stitching beginning and end is going to be hidden, so you're not going to see these stitches. Okay, as simple as that. We have our top pocket sewn on. I'm going to go ahead and take my double-sided tape off of this one. Maybe. So that I don't forget and have to dig around in there once it's all sewn. We're going to take our bottom pocket and we're going to line it up right underneath our top pocket, so that the top of the bottom pocket aligns with the bottom of the tabbed edges of our first pocket here. If you want to double check that everything is straight, you can get your ruler back out and it's going to be 1 1/8 or so approximately from each side. I have some double-sided tape on this pocket, so I'm going to press it down, hold it in place. Now we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we're going to start right up here at this corner, right where our top stitching ended. We're going to go down around the bottom and back up to the corner here on the top pocket. Okay, so we are going to sew around the pocket, down one side across the bottom and up the other side. This is another one where I like to leave long tails. I'll pull it back to the back and tie those off. We have our pockets on now. Now is the time to attach our hook connector to our front exterior. So you're going to take your hook connector, turn it over to the wrong side, which is where your raw edges are. Slide it through the opening of your swivel hook here, and you're going to fold it up around about 1 1/4 inches. And you can take some double-sided tape if you want and help hold that in place, or you can just clip it. I'm going to actually do both at the moment. Okay. Now you're going to take this here and you're going to turn it over so that fold is on the bottom side. And you're going to line it up so that the raw edge that you just folded over is at the top of your front exterior. Let me move this to the other side. And then you're going to measure over 1/2 inch from the left side of your front exterior. And that is where your hook connector is going to go. And again, if you want to add some double-sided tape to keep that in place, or you can just break your clip. Let's get a different one. Clip that in place there. Yeah. Okay. Now, turn your front exterior over to the wrong side. And you're going to fold this upper piece here down and around so that it's against, the fold is against the top of your exterior. I need one of my bigger clips here. You want to make sure that that edge of your hook connector is again 1/2 inch from your side of your front exterior. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. We're going to take this over to the sewing machine. We're going to do a box stitch around to secure everything. I like to just follow down my previous stitch line here, go across right above your swivel hook, and go back up to approximately where your stitching was for your fold. And so just a box stitch right here. Okay, we're going to sew our hook connector on again with a box. I like to follow my already stitched lines. We're just going to go around and get it connected. This is going to be the thickest portion of what you'll need to sew. So if you don't have a heavy duty or industrial machine, it might be best to hand crank through this portion and to make sure you have a fresh needle in. Okay, there we are. Our front assembly is done. We have everything sewn on for that, so we're going to set that to the side and we're going to move on to the back assembly. You're going to need your back exterior and your closure strap. If you have a side of your closure strap that you like better than the other, go ahead and pick your front and your back side, and then place a small piece of double-sided tape on the back side at the straight edge. We are going to take our piece. You're probably not gonna be able to see all of this on the camera, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna turn it sideways probably. And you're going to have the wrong side of your strap, or your back side of your strap, against the right side of your back exterior, with the rounded portion pointed away from your exterior. We are going to measure down. Let me zoom back in here since the thread isn't contrasting on this one. We're going to measure down from this stitch line, not from the top, from this stitch line. We're going to use that as our measuring point. And you want to measure down 3/4 of an inch. And we're going to center our strap, which is going to be about 4 1/8 in. So I'm just going to take my little ruler here and measure from our stitching line. I said 4, it's not 4, it's 2 1/4 or 2 1/8 inch in from the side. And we're going to go 3/4 of an inch down. And I didn't take my double-sided tape off, so hold on. There we go. Make sure you get all that remembered, and then do your measurement. All right. So we're going to line up the bottom edge of our closure strap down from the stitch line. And press that on nice and tight. If you want to use some clips to hold it up at the top as well, just to make sure it doesn't move around on you, I like to do that. And now we're going to attach our closure strap to our back exterior. Again, I like to use our previous stitch lines on this. So I'm going to sew a box with an X through it, and the top of the box is going to be even with the stitching on the back exterior, or just below it. You don't want to go above it, because remember, that's our channel for our cord. So you don't want to sew into this top area of the fold. You want to stay just below or right at that stitch line. So I sew across, down, across the bottom, back up the side, and then I do my X from there. Okay, let's attach our closure strap with a box and X to keep it secure. All right, there we have it. All right, we have our back assembly done with the closure strap attached. Now we're going to move on to our final assembly. You'll want your front exterior and your back exterior, and we're going to place those wrong sides together. And you are going to just line those up, making sure that the rounded corners are in place. Probably do that first. Your back piece is longer than your front piece, remember, so it is going to stick out further. That's why we had the bigger fold at the top. And just clip it all the way around. Move that hook out of the way. One more at the bottom for good measure. All right, so once you have it hooked all the way, clipped all the way around, we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and we're going to start at our stitch line of our front exterior right here, because you remember you don't want to go into your top fold of your back exterior. And hopefully you can see that, maybe you can see, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. You can see that that top stitching and the back stitching, the front stitching and the back stitching should pretty much line up, or be close enough for you. So we're going to start at our stitching at the top of our front exterior. Again, just like our pockets, go around the side, down the bottom, back up the side, ending at the other side of that stitching. All right, let's get our front and back exterior stitched together. There we have it. Our Marley Crossbody is all stitched together. We can close our strap down around it. And the final step is to put on our crossbody strap. So I have a cork cord here that I'm going to use. You can use any cording. This one is actually 3 millimeters, I'm pretty sure. But I like the 5 a little bit better, but I wanted to use this white, which I just happen to have in 3 millimeter. So anywhere in the 5 to 3 millimeter range will work for you. First thing you want to do is you want to take one end of your cord and slide it through that back channel. Then you're going to take the other end of your cord and you're going to come through on the other side and slide it through this other end of your channel. So now you have cord coming through on each end. Once you have that, you're going to do a slip knot, which is basically just a regular knot with this. Ooh. Oh. All right, on that end, then we're going to do the same thing with the other end. Pull it as tight as you can because you really don't want to have it coming undone. And I also leave, I don't know, anywhere between 1/2 inch and 1 inch here to kind of help it stay in place as this gets used. But there we are. And now it can be tightened. And loosened as needed, depending on what length you want it to be. And your Marley Crossbody is done. Thanks for joining me, guys.